Let's revisit the potential movement that you have within your spinal cord. We'll start by taking the time to tune in to our alignment, our skeletal frame, by taking up the position of Tadasana, mountain posture. And like the mountain, firmly grounded into the earth, but reaching high into the atmosphere above, take that on board as you position yourself, rising up from the soles of your feet, lifting the flesh, commencing a continuum of an upward flow of energy, increasing the lift on the skin, the flesh, the biggest single organ of your body. Have it elevating upwards. Think about the fronts of the legs, the sides, the backs. Lift the flesh of the buttock, cheeks, and draw them together. And as you do that, you'll feel this natural tilt of your pelvis. And as the pelvis naturally tilts, the abdominals will then naturally pull in. And the belly button especially will pull in, back and down to connect with the base of your spine, giving you a firm grounding of the pelvic girdle, the basin, to connect your upper and lower body together and to allow that sense of solid connection with the earth whilst lifting and rising up to the crown of your head. Take a breath in through the nostrils. Exhale, draw the shoulders back so the shoulder blades draw towards each other, opening out across the front of your chest, allowing for greater expansion of the rib cage and effectively giving more room for the lungs to inflate. Have your chin parallel with the mat, the ground. Close your eyes. Now you may feel the transference of your body weight between the 2 feet, and you want to draw in and centralize this. So checking that your head, the heaviest part of your body, is securely centered over your shoulders, and your head and shoulders are resting centrally over your hips. Tuning into your rhythmic flow of breath, observing it and inviting it to grow in length and deepness. So take longer over your inhalation and become readily aware of your lungs inflating, and then let go of that breath consciously, fully and completely. Open the eyes, remembering that every breath you take in is all about creating space, lifting, elevating, rising up, and every breath that you let go of is all about the letting go, the release, the surrender. It's not a collapse. You're still consciously controlling, however you have softened into the space that you've made. So let's get on and really explore the potential of the spinal cord. Forward flexion. If we take our hands to our hips and then have a breath in and think about lifting those hips up towards the waist. Again, think about the buttocks and lift the flesh up. You want to have this nice upright position, creating space, And then when you next breathe out, you're going to use gentle pressure with the thumbs to begin to tip yourself forward. Now you're going to take it nice and slowly so that you can effectively engage all parts of the body to assist. So especially the stomach in the first instance. You don't want to allow the stomach muscles to collapse because that would put extra pressure on the spinal cord. You want to keep pulling the tummy in so that it protects and supports the spine as you hinge your hips forward over your femur bones. As you take the descent, be aware that your toes are relaxed. You should be able to pick them up and give them a wiggle at any point of the way, because you're keeping the weight of your body dispersed equally and evenly into the four corners of your feet, allowing the toes that sense of freedom. Once you get to halfway, and you might like to by now either have your hands resting onto your thighs, or if you feel the need, have a chair in front of you, so that could help give you some support in the early days of your practice. Halfway, you want to feel that the back is nice and flat, like a tabletop. So you want to look at the head and get it placed evenly, thinking about the back of the neck being a natural extension of the spine, and think about creating space through the spine from the tailbone all the way along to the crown of the head. Remembering you have 33 bones in the spine, and even though the lowest parts are flat and fused, the rest are all individual vertebrae, and you're able to create space between each. Let's continue with the hinging forward, still holding on to the stomach muscles, the teeth unclenched, the legs assisting, the flesh active, lively, lifting. Get yourself to a point that is comfortable for you, and it may not necessarily be all the way down here. It might still be held onto a chair up here. It might be that your hands are now on your shins, wherever is comfortable for you. Check that you haven't pushed your buttocks beyond the heels of your feet and to the wall behind you. You need to take a breath in and bring the weight of the buttocks to rest centrally over the heels of the feet. Now this may make an exchange of weight in the feet, but you can adjust and adapt. And then let go of the back of the neck so that the crown of the head points down towards the mat. So indeed now your head is lower than your heart, so you are getting extra amounts of oxygen flowing into the head, the brain. Be aware of this, so that when you do finally come up, you're going to come up slowly and consciously, allowing the levels of rich oxygenated blood to regulate themselves. It's in this position that you are able to passively elongate the trunk of the body due to the heavy weight of the head drawing you downward. If you need to have a bend in the knees, then do so. If the legs begin to shake, then it's the body's way, that of the nervous system, telling you that you are possibly overstretching. So you should listen to this and adapt, simply bending your knees or rising up out of the position. And then we do come to release from the position. Let's walk the hands up the legs, keep the knees lively, active and lifting.
Keep the chin on the chest. Pull the tummy in as you restack the bones of the spine. And once the shoulders are over the hips, you can raise the chin to become level with the mat, the ground. Allow the arms to hang naturally by the sides of the body so that you can draw in all the nourishment from that forward flexion of your spine. So now let's look at backward flexion of the spine. Backward flexion of the spine takes place by having a real continual connection with acknowledging an uplift, whereby if you go to take a bit of a back bend and you feel this pinching in the lowest part of the spine, that's because you've slumped, you've dropped into the bending back. You want to continually have this rising up, opening of the chest, lifting of the heart to the ceiling as you bend back. So you might want to watch first by watching a demonstration. This can allow you to visualize what your mind is going to be asking your body to do. Or you can join in straight away, whatever you choose. So let's have the feet slightly parted. They don't need to be any wider than hip width. The closer together, the better for the fullness of the posture, but that's something you can work toward. We're going to breathe in, take the hands above the head. Now, when you have the hands above the head, you want to ensure that your fingers are together, your thumbs travel alongside, and they're nice and direct. So with our shoulders relaxed, we'll breathe in and we'll raise the hands up over the head. Be aware that when you're breathing in, creating the space, that you're not just pulling your shoulders up to your ears and lifting from the upper part of the body. You want to be taking your mind down into the pelvic girdle and even internally pulling pubis to navel. There's so much space to be created from the lower part of the body to allow the upper part to then flex back. So this position here is known as Urdhva Tadasana, upward mounting. We can even just take a breath in and raise the chin and the eyes to the ceiling, dropping the head and neck back. Just checking that our shoulders are still relaxed, that our teeth are unclenched, and unfurrow the brow. As you drop the head back, there might be a tendency to crease the forehead. Soften in this area. And then bring the chin parallel once again to the mat. Breathe in, pulling up internally, creating space and lift, using the flesh on the torso. Thinking about this lower region of the spine and really lifting and creating space. And then when you exhale, you're going to push your hips and your thighs forward. Now, without collapsing, you're going to continue to rise up, creating space between the vertebrae of the spine. Then take the chin up, the eyes up, look up. And then breathe in, pull the tummy in, and return to that central position. You can bring the palms of the hands together, pass the third eye to the heart chakra, and release. So we're going to try that again, and this time we'll be going further into the posture if we have that ability. If not, you practice the lower sections of the position. Get yourself strong in the foundation before you progress. That's one of the best things to do with yoga. Breathe in, raise the hands up above the head, relax the shoulders away from the ears, unclench the teeth, nice calm and composed position as we begin to rise up and create space and lift the flesh. And then exhale, push the thighs and the hips forward. Continue lifting from the base of the spine. Rise up through the chin, the eyes, and then flex back. You can open your arms out into a wire position. And then pull the tummy in and breathe in as you come back to your neutral foundation. Keeping the breath flowing, even whilst concentrating and remaining focused. And then release. Backward flexion of the spine. So one of the main things to remember there is if when you flex back you feel any pinching, it's because you've collapsed down rather than continually reaching up, stretching and then flexing back. So twisting of the spinal cord now, and remember that when you do turn the spine, use the flesh on the trunk of the body to go with it. But more often than not, to turn, some of you just use the head. But you can actually use the spine and the trunk of the body to take it all. And that way everything's being utilised rather than one part receiving extra stress or strain. So let's look into that deeper now. We've got our Tadasana position, standing nice and straight, elevating. We're going to take our left hand in front of us and our right hand behind us, keeping the shoulders relaxed and parallel. The hips, they don't move. Both of them are staying facing straight ahead. It's a simple gesture of the hands rising up. Be aware as well if you've raised the left hand right up and the right hand is lacking behind here. To assist, maybe lower the left and raise the right so that you can get them level. Almost as if you had a tabletop to the side of you, a counter, and you're putting the hands equally. So a nice deep breath in, again, right from the lower quarters, get everything lifting, the flesh, internally, externally. And then rotate, so you're going to be turning to the right. Push your right hip forward, pull your left hip back, so that the hips remain balanced and aligned as you turn to look over your right shoulder. And in the fullness of the position, breathe in and out rhythmically. And then keep the space you've created as you lower the arms by the sides of your legs and you travel in the opposite direction. So now the right hand is going to come in front, the left hand behind you. Again, checking that you haven't raised the leading hand right up and the hand behind you has dropped low. You want to level them out. You want to get the hips level so that they're both aligned and facing the wall in front of you. And then you'll scoop up internally, pull up, create space, lift the flesh, relax the shoulders away from the ears and rotate to the left. Turn in to look over your left shoulder. Teeth unclenched, breath flowing. And then keep that elevation, that space you've made. Even as your hands lower to come beside your hips, you still have that feeling of elevation going upwards. And returning to your neutral foundation of Tadasana. So we've done forward flexion, backward flexion, rotation, twist. Now let's do lateral flexion. And already you'll be getting more of an idea of the full potential you have for moving the spinal cord. So let's keep the hands alongside the outer thighs. Let's ensure that we've got that tilt of the pelvis. So just check whether you've allowed the tummy muscles to collapse and you've pushed your buttocks out behind you, your chest forward, and whether you can just have that tilt and get everything correctly aligned. The basin, your pelvic area here, the basin, that holds all your internal organs. If you tip that forward, they all spill forward and lose vital support. So just a little tilt of the pelvic basin there. Another breath in, we're lifting, we're creating space up through the trunk of the body, the torso. And then as we exhale, we're going to just let those fingertips on the left hand lightly travel down the outside edge of the left leg as we bend to the left. Keep your right shoulder back. You might like to even draw it back a bit further so that you expand across the front of the chest. Pulling the tummy in whilst you bend laterally so that the spine is fully supported. And then you'll breathe in, come up to the centre, exhale, flow to the other side. And you continue to keep a regulated breath whilst in the movement. Avoid holding the breath. Becoming more concentrated and focused could lead to you holding the breath, clenching the teeth, but you want to avoid this. And then pulling in, rising up to that central position. A round of breath. And then we'll go again, this time just going up one more level with the lateral flexion, but of course staying back at that previous level of practice if you wish. So pull up internally, pubis to navel, navel to breastbone. It's almost like a zipper. And then exhale, gently travel that left hand down the outer edge of the left leg. And now allow this right hand to smooth its way along your torso, up and over your right ear. And extend the right fingertips to the wall to the left of you. Keep your head and neck in a natural alignment, extension of the spine. So avoid dropping it down or looking up. Your inside of the upper right arm brushes across the right ear. And then, so another breath in. You come back to that central position, creating space, and then flow to the other side. Ensuring that you move slowly, so you may consciously control. Keep the knees lifting. Keep the legs lively, active and engaged. Feel the stretch. And then pulling the tummy in to support the spine and returning to Tadasana, mountain posture. Close the eyes, tune in, become aware of this new space that you have gained, this new feeling of lift, stretch, tone, Draw in all the nourishment from the positions you've practiced. And then open the eyes, bring the hands to the heart, and give yourself thanks for your practice. Give yourself thanks for the enlightened activity you have achieved. Be grateful, have gratitude, know that there is a universal abundance out there and it's yours for the taking. Safe in the knowledge that yoga is good for you.